There you go, guys. That's our new motif. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to episode 4. We got 3 topics we're going to talk about today. 1, gay. 2, political gay.
Also gay. Double gay.
3, Restore UK.
Yeah.
Trigger everyone. If you're first new to us, that's going to trigger you. Are you fine with that intro?
Yeah, I am.
All
Yeah.
right, fine. Right, we're going to react to our first video. And I think more on topic here. We got a video here of, let me get on stream. Right, guys, so here we are with a video we're going to watch. It's of 2 lesbian mothers talking about doing a Q&A. The reason I brought this up is because my wife actually posted this on her Instagram and stuff and got a lot of feedback. So I think we're going to talk about this video, address the video, but also talk about how...
Do you want to look at the comments?
Yeah, I can see the comments here.
And the comments on your wife's video, or like her repost?
I don't have access to her account. It's like private messages. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
And so we'll react to the video, talk about the video, but also talk about how to maybe have conversations with people in your family or just people in your everyday life that hold this view. You know, you've come with that? Let's play the video.
Family. Who's the mom? Both of us. Who's the real mom? Both of us. Who's the dad? They don't have one. Do they look like their dad? Actually, one, yes. But he's not their dad. He's their donor. But he's their biological father. Who carried the kids? You. I did. Whose eggs did we use? Mine. Who breastfed? Me. Even though you didn't carry. Yes. Yeah. What do the kids call us? We're both mummy. Sometimes mummy and other mummy. But lately, I've been this mummy. I don't know why. You're this mummy even if you're not here. This mummy. This mummy. If we had more kids, whose eggs would we use? Mine. Yours. If we have more kids, who would carry? Me. How did we have kids? We did IVF. Reciprocal IVF is what it's called when it's one person's womb and the other person's eggs.
This is not a family, and I don't say that to be mean or to bully or to hurt feelings. Foundational words like marriage and family have definitions that matter. When the word family is redefined to mean whatever the adults want it to mean, this is what happens. Suddenly, children are robbed of a father for their entire life because 2 women wanted to play house so bad that they paid a man to masturbate into a jar. Or children are robbed of a mother for their entire life because 2 men paid to rent out a woman's body for a couple of months and pay her for the baby that she grew. I have a son and a daughter, and their father doesn't just matter because I want him to matter. He objectively matters in their life the same way that I do. Not because we're just the 2 adults that decided to raise them, because we are the mom and the dad, and that matters. The desire to have children is normal. It is good, but we are not entitled to children. We don't have a right to children, and we especially do not have a right to create children to specifically deny them of a mother or father. These people in this ideology have turned actual children into commodities, and you can do whatever you'd like to do with them, and it's not acceptable. And it's time that other adults decide that we're going to speak up for these kids.
Common questions we get as a 2-mom family. Who's the mom? Both of us.
Got it.
Boom.
Yeah.
Can't get it. There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
There we go. You wanna-
Based take from live action.
Based live action are killing it right now. Let me
Yeah.
just say that live action, you know them, Lila Rose, abortion, killers. I don't know what I'm doing right now. Anyway, what do you want to say about this video?
I mean, there's a lot to say, man. So much to say. She's got most of it, man. I would like to say also that, like, when we say that, when we talk about the definition of a marriage or definition of a mother or a father, we're not playing language games. I think it's really easy to do that. Is to just, because when you're playing language games, so it might be reasonable for someone to say, hey, could you not kind of extend the language changes all the time? But we may not make this a little bit more flexible and kind of change what this applies to, because, like, you know, words have different senses. There's a general sense to what word should we go? Like, the word gay had a general sense that meant happy, and then over time the word gay was applied to flamboyance, and especially flamboyant men. And now gay doesn't mean happy or joyous or enthusiastic anymore. It kind of has morphed over time, right? But that we're not willing to do that with marriage because this isn't a language game.
Yeah, or
it's
parents.
or parenting, right?
Yeah.
Parents, a father, like these mother, these kinds of words. We're not these are words that we've come up to describe something about reality. You know, reality is reality. Reality doesn't change. We use our language to try and, like, understand things about it, right? But we don't get to change. It's not like a magic spell where, oh no, we're modern people, so we get to fix the definition of marriage and love, and all of a sudden we can change the reality of what marriage and love are, right? That's what it feels like we've done in recent years. In the past couple of decades, we've decided that marriage had an old fuddy-duddy definition, and all we need to do is update it.
Well,
no, well, the reality of what marriage isn't dictated by us. It's set in the nature of reality by God. God determined what a marriage is, and that hasn't changed.
Yep.
Even if we get really weird and stupid in the way we talk about marriages, and we're wrong about what a marriage is, what a marriage truly is what God tells us it is. So yeah, it's not just a language game here. But when you make it a language game, you make it very like legalistic, and I mean that not in kind of like the Christian sense. I mean like literally, if I can go to the government and get people to vote on a piece of legislation, we get to change what a marriage is.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we don't, because it's not about words. It's not about legislation.
Yeah, 100%. I listen to everything you're saying. I think what you're saying is good there. And I think it also ties into the identity as well. They're playing language games because they're playing identity games at the same time. Because I've been thinking about these relationships and men and women's roles and stuff in light of transgenderism. I'm not trying to swerve the thing, but the reason I think we've gotten to a point where two mums are kind of okay is because we've gotten to a point where gender roles have been flipped and have been, or not necessarily flipped, gender roles themselves and a role a man plays and a role a woman plays are now interchangeable. You know what I'm saying? Just what you identify as or what you can do. And I think that's also affirmed this. You know what I'm saying? I think. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
there?
I mean, what you're describing is such a Western modern problem because you say
Exactly.
gender roles are flipped. Look, I've never seen a woman coal miner,
No.
right? Like, have you seen a female lumberjack or
Maybe on
a
Instagram. I think
timber
I've
worker?
seen one on Instagram.
Oh, excellent, amazing! You found one,
yeah.
right? I mean, to be fair, I've seen more women bin people,
Yeah.
persons, and power to them. If you're good at
Well, then,
if you're good at waste management, fantastic. But it seems like you need certain preconditions in your society
And
that permit this kind of like nonsense.
exactly. And I think what we're trying to say here is what I was thinking about this as well. Is specifically this is going to be getting onto the other side of this conversation about how you speak to people and how you address people and how you approach conversations. I just said that the exact same thing 3 different times. Is in explaining what I was about to say, I forgot what I was going to say. What were we talking about? We're talking about identity, women's. Oh yeah, I
Definitions.
remember. Is I just wanted to give a clarification of where we're standing, and I think the problem is sometimes when you're talking about other people's positions, you can accidentally seem like you're arguing their position. Like for instance, with atheism, sometimes when I'm trying to call out my friend's hypocrisy, I'll apply their standard into what I'm saying, and then we can get confused. And so I think what we're trying to say is we don't necessarily think it's bad for a woman to be a bin man or a woman to be a coal miner. It's just if we're going to apply your standard or the other standard of men and women are exactly the same, why haven't we seen that? You know, so I just wanted to.
You're not as
expand on that.
flexible as you claim to be,
Yeah.
right?
Or you don't want to be. And then the thing that gets to want and desires, like this other woman reacting to that video that we're reacting to was catching on that. Yeah. I don't know.
I think when you're talking to people that you care about these things, or talking to people you don't particularly care about, I mean, it's always good to be nice, unless you're left with no option. You have to figure out where they're coming from, right? So certain people are going to be coming from there are loads of people who are very scientific in the way they view the world, right? And you can make really strong biological arguments for why this does not qualify as valid human family and mating behavior. I mean, if we evolved, we certainly evolved to have a father and a mother in a monogamous relationship. Why else would every civilization on Earth feature monogamy, right?
Well, then, but they use that against you. You know, I've heard so many people say, well, we see gay lions.
Okay, great.
They don't last very long, though.
Yeah. And I've never seen lions build skyscrapers. So let's see if we're going to start talking about the things that animals do. How about we talk about animals that actually achieve things? And yeah, so you get loads of people who are against. I feel like there's a general change in culture where even people who are very permissive towards homosexuality are beginning to kind of, like the intellectual scene, are kind of beginning to accept that you can't have a society where the norm is homosexuality,
Yeah.
where the norm is gender fluidity,
Mhm.
right? And they will fall back on this idea of, well, we're biologically entrenched, we're beholden to our natures, and you need a dad to develop
Exactly.
children a specific way so they're ready for civilization, and you need a woman to foster them, to make these human beings come into their own personhood so that they can be trained into civilization,
Mhm.
right? Like there seems to be a kind of a growing cultural consensus. We're essentially rediscovering traditionalism. It's like, as it
we saw
turned,
that the other day. We saw a meme about that the other day, didn't we? At work, it was like feminists accidentally discovered marriage.
yeah.
I forgot what it was about, but
Yeah.
it's along the same lines of what you're saying. Is
I sent one to our boss as well. That
Mhm.
was from some ICE protests, and a lady had set up a barrier and saying, "Well, we should be able to let know who's coming in and out of our neighborhood." So this woman who's protesting ICE had reinvented borders,
yeah,
but
she's
only
saying,
for her neighborhood.
open borders. No one's illegal. No one's stolen on illegal land or
Yeah.
whatever. No one's illegal and stolen land. I said that the wrong way around. But we're gonna set up borders.
Yeah. We don't want all these strangers in our neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Let's bring it back to this,
Yeah.
though. I think we were talking about before we started recording was it's so jarring in normal conversations with people, and people might get frustrated with you, but you need to ask for definition of words. You need to ask, what do you mean by marriage? What do you mean by love? What do you mean by parents?
Absolutely.
What do you mean by mother? And it gets so jarring, and I've had conversations with people that go, oh, Isaac, you're super jarring, da-da-da. It's like, okay, well, what I was telling Peter before we start recording is you kind of use like a diagram, or is that right? Or just a picture, is if you have your life and you have your understanding of words, you have a foundation of understanding words. So when you hear someone say love or joy, you know what that means because you've throughout your whole entire life, you've built up like your own dictionary, if you will, of what that word means.
Presupposition.
Presupposition. Yeah, you've built up your own presuppositions. And here's the thing. People have different presuppositions and inbuilt dictionaries. And specifically, the Christian view or definition of love is insanely different to... I don't even want to necessarily say it's a leftist problem, because I know conservative people that agree with this. What would you say, like a woke or more woke LGBTQ affirming definition? And so it's really important to go, what do you mean by love? What is your standard for love?
Yes.
What are you basing this on? Because otherwise I'm going to use love and they're going to assume their own definition for what I'm saying, and vice versa. And you actually can't have a productive conversation because you always feel like you're talking over each other. You're not understanding me. And so I'm prolonging this point just because I think it's the most important thing.
Yeah. What do you mean?
definitions.
What do you mean by a parent? What do you mean by a mother and a father? Like, if we take this instance as an object lesson, is parenthood voluntary, or is it biologically determined?
There you go.
Are you a father by merit of the fact that child has your DNA in their cells, or is it are you that child's father because you voluntarily looked after them? You've taken them into your household to feed and to raise. What is it? And they're trying to. You can see how far they're trying to go to intermix and confuse the matter to make to imitate legitimacies. Like, well, it's her eggs, but in my body, but I didn't breastfeed, and yeah, they're genetically related to this man, but that doesn't matter because we're raising them. But what matters? So it comes down to what makes a parent? Is it the DNA, the blood, or is it the adoption aspect, like the voluntary aspect of taking that child upon taking that child as a responsibility? Like, what is it? And do you want to come at the Christian side of that? Or because I think we may disagree on this one. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, because I was just going to nuance it slightly is I would say if you have a mother and a father that adopt a child, that child can still equally be their child. And so in one sense, I don't think it's necessarily, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about definitions. You have the definition of biological father, where it's literally part of your DNA or whatever, even though they have their unique DNA, but you know what I'm saying, you can see other fathers. And then you have adoptive fathers, where you've adopted a kid. And so that's why we're trying to get to the biology, and this is where it can get a bit nuanced, because then when you start talking about adoption, it can almost seem like that affirms same-sex parenthood, because you're admitting that it's not just biology, but it's also just the functions. And this is what I'm saying is these people, or when you say love, you say parent, you say mother, you say father, you even say adoption, you're appealing to an objective standard. That's also what I want to nuance as well. And that's where it's important to ask people, what do you mean by that? Why do you think this? You're appealing to something that's subjective, something outside that you're saying, this is the definition of parent. And then that's why when you start talking about adoption, you can go like, the reason I think you can adopt and view them as your child if it's just a father or just one man and one woman is because I'm appealing to a standard of marriage that is outside of subjectivity and rooted in something objective, which God founded, which is between a man and a woman. And that's why adopting with male and female is different with adopting than male and male or female and female. Was that a good explanation?
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. There are so many problems with this worldview because it's so inconsistent. Like we said, it's this conflict between role and blood. Essentially spirit and spirit and flesh. You can the biological aspect of it also doesn't make sense. Like nothing about it makes sense, but barring the emotional impact of two nice ladies telling you that they have a happy family, right? So suffice to say, you can attack this in many different ways. So often people's worldviews and opinions based on these things aren't going to be as solid, anywhere near as solid as a Christian-based worldview. Christian-based worldview, we believe, is the most solid. We believe it's true all the way down, and if you have a really well-formed Christian worldview, you're very rarely going to be caught flat-footed because you're going to be founded on solid rock instead of the sand. You're going to have good reasoning all the way down. And because it's representative of the truth, Christian belief is representative of the truth. And so you're walking into these six circumstances, so long as you understand where the other person is coming from, definitionally, and also like in terms of viewpoint, general worldview, it's not like you're on the back foot. You're actually really well positioned to kind of apply some pressure and find where the weak points in the other person's argument are, because no worldview makes as much sense as the Christian worldview. It's cheating almost. We have all the answers. It just depends on whether or not we've done the work to kind of internalize them and look them up in scripture and seek outside sources for verification and stuff like that. But it's actually, you shouldn't be anxious about these things. If you're talking to someone that you love, you already have something to work off where you're going to be mutually caring, hopefully, right? A friend or a family member. You're going to give each other some grace, even if they're not Christian. And you're coming from a place of strength. So don't worry about it, man.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I guess don't worry about it.
Put in the work, but don't worry about it.
I think that's what you're going to say is put in the work. That's good. What you just said in the statement. You have to look into these things, but no. Yeah, I think that's it. You have to look into these things and understand it more because, like I was saying, when they bring up the adoption, it could seem like they've pulled the rug from underneath you. You're like, oh, you're right. I don't actually think it's childhood. It's just a male and a female. But we have the Bible. Parenthood. Yeah, sorry. And we spoke about this in the first episode a bit more in depth, talking about how parenting isn't just raising children, isn't just the act of raising a child and giving it subjective values or whatever. It is way more in depth than that. And so, yeah, I think we've addressed this pretty well. Have you got anything you want to say specifically in closing?
I mean, I think if I were to give like a specific, if I wanted to point out a specific thing in here that I think is, it gets so confused. Like I said, they try to build up this intermeshing of confusion. Who's the mum? My egg's her body. Somebody else's sperm, but I raise and I breastfeed. Blah, 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 in order to imitate something authentic. And it's because I think I think it's such a modern problem because modern people have lost. We exist in this postmodern world where materialism, living purely in the flesh, thinking of us as just flesh robots, didn't make sense. And so we've gone back to a degree of superstition. And so we have this confusion of spiritual and biological roles and design and like what how do we make sense of any of this? And Christianity is beautiful because it melds those two perfectly. Is both are important. What we are as fleshly creatures, as creatures with bodies, is important, and what we are as spiritual beings made in the image of God is super important. And how we conjoin those things, living in faithfulness to God, is super important. And the Bible gives us help with that. The Holy Spirit gives us help with that. But I think, in my personal belief, if it comes down to it, what makes a parent is very much the spiritual side of it. God is a spiritual father to us. He's not a biological father. He didn't impregnate anyone. But when we get saved, we are adopted into his family, and we are as legitimately his children as we could say. Well, bringing up Jesus is going to be difficult, but well, Jesus in his earthly form,
Mhm.
being a son of the Father, right? As a human man, we share in a part of that when we're adopted. So it's so amazing, it's so beautiful, and we're adopted in a spiritual way, and that is super legitimate, right? And so that's why adoption is so beautiful, especially in a Christian worldview, is because we set aside the flesh to pursue something that is spiritual and pure and beautiful. And so I don't think having people of an LGBT persuasion come back at you and say, "Oh, doesn't adoption legitimize?" This is a bit weird because they're not spiritual people. They're not
No,
talking about
that's true, yeah.
something higher and transcendent as me setting aside the flesh. It's usually it's gay men or lesbian women in their flesh
Yeah.
talking about how to feed
That's
their
good.
flesh, wanting it to have accessory children,
Mhm.
like these consumer item children, and trying to legitimize it using my tools, using my language, using my worldview. They have no view of the spirit, really.
Yeah. No, that's,
And it's a confusion. Just become Christian. It all makes sense.
yeah, I think that was really good for analyzing there, talking about the spiritual, how these guys are flip-flopping from a purely physical, material worldview to then a spiritual worldview as soon as it benefits them.
Yeah.
And there's just inconsistency
Yeah.
there. So hopefully this helped you, blessed you, in just having normal conversations with people. Again, like always, we're trying to address maybe one topic, go a bit more in depth. But if you guys want us to elaborate more on specific things... Oh, we didn't look at the comments. Do you want to look at the comments real quick?
Do you want it?
We could.
We have time.
We have time.
We can
We'll
do
look
that.
at the comments. I might just keep that in or whatever. Or we'll look at other comments. Here we go. We'll look at the top one. I'm going to have to lean forward. Actually, I can just adjust my mic. Boom. Here we go. This one says, I personally absolutely detest these kinds of blanket posts and comments on such complex and emotional issues. It is sensationalism. Causes division, and no matter how it opens, portrays complete lack of empathy and grace.
Why is
Were you muted that whole time?
Yeah, it's all right. I'll say it again. Why is it such a complicated situation? Because it's so emotional.
Mhm.
It's so emotional. We have to make sure that we think about the emotions. I'm not advocating for being a jerk, but past a certain point, we have to say this is so important.
Mhm.
You can actually put a pin in it how you feel, and let's actually sort out whether or not this is what's best for the kids. How about
Yeah.
that? I want to have compassion, not on the two adult women primarily. But how about the children who are growing up without a masculine example in a father,
Yeah.
right? And empathy. Man, do I detest the way modern people use
Trigger
empathy.
word. Empathy is such a trigger word now.
There's so many presuppositions that go into it. It's because there is an assumption that if only you could feel what I could feel, you'd be nicer to me, right? But that's not empathy, right? Like, there are loads of people. Sociopaths can understand another person's emotional state. They tried hard enough. They just don't care. They just don't care. Empathy does not imply compassion and consideration, right? So let's take that word empathy and view it as compassion, right? Compassion. Was this an uncompassionate video? Was she being uncompassionate here, do you think?
Yeah.
You think she was being
She
uncompassionate?
was being homophobic.
She was.
Transphobic.
Yeah, probably racist as well. I think the lady on the left is like Hispanic or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is hard is not having the conversation. I just don't think when certain people use these words, unless you're in person, it's even fruitful to respond to them
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yes.
They've already come up with their mind in these
Yes.
situations. And like you're saying, I think there does...
It's like having a counter-agent within a Christian cultural movement. There's people who are just constantly going, "You're being mean. You're being mean." This lady isn't raising her voice. She's not saying anyone's a terrible person. She's saying the
Yeah.
practice is bad.
Yeah.
Are we now, if something is suitably, like, if it's a subject matter is very emotional or what would we say, culturally contentious, you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Or is there a ritual I need to go through? Do I need to do my friendly eyebrow?
You need a DBS
Well,
check.
ladies. Yes. Well, ladies, I might play. Babies may need fathers. Like, what do
Yeah.
I do? What do you do to appease people like this? And it undermines the Christian cultural movement by having people more eager to shake their finger at other Christians trying to do the will of God, trying their best to do the
And
will
that's
of
what's
God.
funny. That's why it's so inconsistent as well. It's like, you're being so judgmental and lacking empathy. What are you doing to me?
Yeah. Where's your compassion for me?
Yeah, where's your empathy for me? I pulled that card with someone before, and then they just go.
But you're bad.
Yeah,
I
you
can
go
be
back-
mean to bad people.
Yeah, we'll end this segment and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just one comment. They're basically nonetheless the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You're not showing empathy. It's like, well, again, what do you mean by empathy? What do you, empathy? What do you mean by all these words? Why is it unempathetic? Maybe this will get into another video. Let me know, guys, if you want. Let us know in the comments if you want us to adjust this comment, talking more about how we baby women, we treat women as babies.
Yeah.
Because that's another topic, but it will go on a complete different trail about how people aren't even talking about their kid. They're talking about the woman, because the woman...
Or the behavior of the woman.
Yeah.
She's not even saying these like, oh, I hate you, you're going to hell. Like, none of that's happening. That's all. That's happening maybe through implication in your own diseased mind, right? You can't even share the truth in love.
No.
Anyway.
Well, because sharing the truth isn't love. Anyway, because it hurts our feelings. Right, we'll sum this up, guys. We'll move on to the next segment here, which is... Let me just adjust the mic. Here we go.
Are you liking the setup more, guys? Tell us.
Oh yeah, we switched sides.
Which
Let
way?
us know. We'll get this back up.
What if people even noticed?
Yeah, what if they did? Oh, it started playing instantaneously, but it's more or less the same thing.
Yeah.
You guys ready for gay bit politics?
Is that Michigan on his leg?
I think it is.
Oh, Somaliland.
Oh, nice. Let's just trigger people.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can't go-
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about maybe the biggest fraud story in human history.
All right. Maybe we could talk about it.
Nah, well, I just.
It's a 10-second thing, guys. It's not very long.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Let's go for it.
Boom. Basically, the video says if you're watching on audio, if
Watching
you're
on
listening
audio. Yeah.
is the moment you realize your friend is low-key supporting the wrong side of history. If you support a immoral man, I won't be friends with you. Hashtag Democrat.
What? An immoral man? Oh no! You have to follow perfect people. Only and follow. I suppose. Yeah. Okay. I mean, would you say that you are following a politician in every regard if you elect them into power? You are following them.
Let me just take the video off screen and then I'll address what you're saying. Do you think you're following if you elect them into power?
Yeah.
I think it's a tricky one. I would say to give as much grace or credit as possible. We talked about this last week. People are idolizing leaders because I think they've got a God-shaped hole. If you will, to use the very Christianese,
Especially in America.
Yeah. And so I think they are maybe following an immoral man like that, but it's just the claim of the moment you realize your friend is low-key on the wrong side of history. It touched your foot. It makes me want to list all the things. We spoke about this, I think, a bit in person. I don't know if we addressed this on
Our last podcast.
our last podcast, yeah, but it's just this idea of I'm not all the way Republican, I'm Jesus first, and to claim you're on the right side of history when 72 million abortions are happening under your worldview yearly. 72 million.
Yeah.
Yearly.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally do. Like, no, history will not be kind.
Mhm.
Mostly because the people who survive into the future will not have been aborted.
Yeah.
But there are two ways to look at this. First is the prima facie aspect. It's like, on the surface of it, this is kind of a jerky thing to say, and also kind of like ill-conceived, right? You are not as though this guy has the wisdom to look forward into the future. Some rando has the wisdom to look forward into the future and see that his cultural movement survives when it is a culture of sterilization and death, and it produces no life. It just takes the children of Republican families, of people who are having kids, who are typically leaning, more kids. Kids typically come from more right-leaning and traditionalistic families because traditionalists have babies and non-traditionalists abort their babies, right? To say that you're in a position, you're having been converted to the right side, to look into the future because you're just so well educated and you have such insight, and with certainty that you're correct, is a really jerky thing to say, and it only appeals to other people who are also kind of acting like jerks. Like, this is not how you win normal people to your side. Nobody who's middle of the range looks at this guy and goes like, oh, he's making a good,
Yeah.
right? On the other side of it, like that's just on the surface of it. This is just kind of like an ill-conceived thing to do.
Yeah.
But in the reality of it, are they winning? They being people who are counter-biblical and typically left-leaning, very Marxist influenced, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Are
talk
they
about that.
winning?
Mhm.
No. You are losing the meme war. This sounds like a silly thing to talk about, but
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
lose online discourse, humorous online discourse is how Gen Z and millennials make sense of the world now.
Mhm.
And the left are not winning the meme wars. They're not winning with tens of thousands of botted likes on posts and stuff. Are not going to are not representative of what actual grassroots support. The grassroots support for the right, both like crazy right and also moderate rightists, is huge, and it's gaining, and regular people are turning more and more against. You're not convincing regular people that a man is a woman, right? That is almost pretty soundly defeated now, primarily in America, but that's spreading now. And so we're going to be in the death throes of a failing leftist movement as we go forward. I'm convinced of this, right? Because they've lost the youth, they've lost the culture. Conservative oriented people need to make more conservative works. We need more J.R.R. Tolkien's making fantasy universes. We need more. I can't even think of a conservative filmmaker, but we need to make more films and write more books and stuff.
Well, we're
like
talking
that.
about the David movie. We've not seen it. But
Yeah.
You have Angel Studios is great.
Yeah.
Where you have The Chosen and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I take issues with the artistry of what they make, but I'm glad they are having a cultural impact, and praise God, it's way better than the alternative.
Yep.
Right? We just need to keep pushing the envelope. We can't just take a victory lap right now because there's still so much. Like look at all these violent ICE protests, regardless of how you view everything that ICE does. Like, it's some of the response to ICE just enforcing the law has been kind of crazy, right? And so we're still living in a dangerous world in regards to the enemies within Western culture, right? But they're on the back foot. They are losing. So no, you are not on the right side of history. No one is going to look at you kindly, really,
I think
for all that you've done.
And I think I just want to touch a bit on what you saying before. Is a lot of left-leaning people, but it is right. It's not just only left. We're trying to really be careful because there is people that would maybe lean more right, but you'd see it less. Pardon me. Is what you're saying. He's talking about here, saying the moment you realize you're on the wrong side of history. Maybe a bit more now, but who the hell says Stalin and Mao and Lenin were on the right side of history?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we can look at your worldview. We can look at your Marxist ideology and say, right now, we look back 100 years ago, less than 100 years ago, and go, that was the wrong side of history.
Yeah.
So the audacity to think they're now on the right side of history.
Yeah.
It's just this thing.
Within living memory, we have like historical examples of this very thing being viewed negatively, and you're claiming this very thing is going to be viewed positively. When I could like Google search similar movements that nobody looks back on fondly, is a crazy thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and novels like 1984 and stuff, and you have, what was it, Animal Farm?
Yeah.
Are so popular speaking against these things, they now have to adapt them into movies that make the pigs capitalists instead. And oh man, it's so hard not to be triggered, but in the most morbid thing, if I was to say this, and it's just so like, it's not pleasant to think about. 30% of pregnancies end in the thing. I just realized that we might actually have to cut out us talking about the word
Unbabying.
Yeah, terminating. That's
Terminating.
30%.
40% of my generation. 40%
Yeah.
of my generation. Thanks, baby boom.
And ended in terminations, and it's like, okay, who are the people with the worldview that terminate babies? Okay, this kind of person. You're not gonna be in history.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you were talking about.
You
It's
have no
like,
legacy.
is because you're dead.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what's sad is if we start homeschooling a bit more, or we have better education system, we start going against the education system, what's going to happen is maybe even in 40 years, we're going to look back at this and go, this was an insane time because they're not having kids.
Yeah.
they're not having kids.
Mhm.
So they're not having the kids to push their worldviews on. But then go back to a video, which if you're watching the cut version of this, we just did. If you want to get more context to what I'm about to say, watch the full podcast. We just reviewed a video of two women who had to adopt a kid, so they're having to go through another person to do this. It's just not mathematically gonna even out.
No, yeah. But it doesn't need to. The current leftist worldview is a fantasist worldview. It's a horrible fantasy, but it's supposed to be shaping the world in accordance with your desires, like Satan. Right? Is that too harsh to say?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of true.
It is.
So it can't last. Eventually, you butt your head up against reality, or as we like to call it, the will of God. You know, what God has willed for how the universe should work. And eventually you realize that, hey, men and women in happy monogamous relationships make children who then carry on civilization.
Yeah.
And so you're an anti-civilizational force. You are a force of decay and misery. And sadly, and this is what I was hinting at earlier, I can't remember. I think it may have been Yuri Bezmenov's ghost on Twitter. Shout out to Yuri Bezmenov's ghost. He understands a lot of the deep lore behind leftist worldview, and like he makes it digestible. So like everything I know about the substructure of all this ideology and political belief I've gotten from him. I think he said that Marxism is a summoning spell for fascism. Like when you push this far leftist, and I don't even like these terms. It's just I'm just saying them because it's what we commonly use. Because I don't think fascism is necessarily far right. I think it's this other thing, more dangerous thing, right? Fascism arises as a response to leftism, and we are seeing this. We are seeing blood and soil, ethno-nationalism, and fascistic views becoming more and more popular, especially with young men who are in a spiteful spirit, right? And this is, if we're going to talk about the right as a monolith, this is accounting for a lot of the upsurge in right cultural cachet, right? The effectiveness of the right is increasing in part because people are becoming more racist and more ethno-nationalist, right? This is not a good thing. This is a very predictable result. Looking back in the 20th century, we've seen this happen in numerous places across time, in Italy, Germany, all that, right? This was to be expected. And I don't like it.
No.
I do not like it. I am not happy about this. So I'm not being triumphalistic when this guy says, we're on the right side of history. And I go, no, you're on the wrong side of history. And I'm not celebrating that because something equally as bad is coming, right? That's how I feel. The modern cultural movement that is going to be reactionary to the leftist culture that we've had for so long is going to be really ugly.
Yeah.
And the only solution, it's graceless, it's merciless, it's entirely, it seeks after those who are like yourself, and therefore it is against biblical love. Love does not seek itself. Like love wishes for the well-being of even your enemy. Like that is, while also, of course, upholding justice. Christianity isn't doormat religion, right? Christianity is opposed to reactionary politics, reactionary fascistic or blood and soil ethno-nationalistic politics. It is neither of these things. It is a higher and better way, right? So yes, this is part of a much bigger and more important conversation about who's going to win out in all of this. Jesus wins ultimately, right? But man, the next couple of decades are going to be really difficult. They're going to be really, really difficult.
Yep.
And I can't help but think the genesis of this was this leftist push through the institutions that has started the decline.
Yeah. That's doom and gloom.
well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we all have a part to play. We all have a part to play. Make as many Christians as possible, responsible Christians.
The answer is Christ. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, if we're going to talk about fascism and communism, both of them, for the most part, are just anti-religion, anti-Christianity, anti-God, atheistic. Over here talking about atheist civilizations.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a conversation for another time. Trigger. We just like to shoot these sentences out so people react to it.
Yeah.
So then we can make a video about it.
Yeah. Awesome.
You know what I mean? So exactly what you're saying. You just need to pray. If you're a Christian, pardon me, let me restart. If you're a Christian, you just need to pray. If you're not a Christian, you need to become a Christian.
Yeah.
Look into it.
And do some work.
Work.
It's not, the kingdom's not going to fall down if you don't hold up your end of, you don't do your duty. But man, God really blesses people who uphold law and order, and want to be responsible people within their civilizations. So Christians are commanded to be responsible people within their societies, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a part for you to play, and we more than ever, it would be good to have Christians being salt and light in this difficult geopolitical scene that we find ourselves in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got this, bro.
Yeah.
You want to close it out?
I thought we were going to do another video.
No, yeah, for this.
Oh, for this one. You want to close it out? I've talked loads this one.
Yeah, you have, right? I know I haven't talked too much here. This is a lot of his realm.
Yeah.
I always say I talk a lot when it comes to the LGBTQ, a lot more stuff for that, because I'm still pretty young. I'm only 23. That's why I've spent a lot of my time going into. I've looked into communism and all of this, but I'm not as in depth into the absolute nitty gritties of it. Although I'm not like a passive Christian. I do talk about it. I am trying to actively learn about it. Hillsdale College. This should be my final closing. If you're here, if you want to know more, if you're listening to what I'm saying, maybe we lost you a bit. Check out Hillsdale College online courses. Free online courses. It is completely free.
Really great.
Have you looked into any of them yet?
No, I've seen you looking at them.
Yeah, I've been watching them. I've watched them. On their course in communism, Marxism, socialism was super helpful for just foundational stuff. It's great. I would check them out.
Yeah,
So,
Yuri Bezmenov's Ghost on Twitter if you want to go
Yeah.
a little bit deeper. New Discourses run by James Lindsay, is it? Who's not a Christian, but he also goes deep. That's if you want to go, like, that's probably not for everyone. But, like, if you want to be super well equipped, if you want to get in the heads of the people you disagree with, hit those people up.
yeah, there you go. That's it. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Peace, guys. Peace. Right. For that segment, we've got. Was it a video, or are we just going to talk about?
We're going to
Restore?
talk about Restore. Put up like right here. Let's have aim high, vote low. Okay, cool. Yes, Rupert Lowes has started a political party.
Yes, this is the third segment of the podcast.
Yeah.
Rupert Lowe. English stuff, because we're English here.
Yes.
And sorry, just before we get into it, a lot of mainstream podcasts are American. So the way we're going to, did I say this at the beginning? The way we're going to set up, if you made it to the end, if we haven't, I'm just going to repeat myself, is I'm going to bring something that I wanted to talk about. Pete's going to bring something that he just wanted to talk about. And then third, just general news.
Current
What has
events.
happened. Current events. That could be Christian, or for this case, it is the announcement of Rupert Lowes'
Yes.
new political party.
Yes.
Restore.
Finally a truly conservative alternative party.
Mhm.
Now, should we explain a little bit to more of our international audience why this is so important?
Yes.
So we have never, in my lifetime, we've never had, and your lifetime because you're younger than me, we've never had a conservative, traditionalistic political party.
Mm-hmm.
We never have. We've just had like boomer conservatives, people who grew up during the summer of love. And
Yeah, so the different boomer conservatives are just LGs,
yes,
you know?
yes,
and then you have the leftists, which are LGBT,
Yes.
TVs, QAs,
Yes.
whatever, you know? And that's what it is.
yeah.
So they're not actually...
The boomer conservatives are trying to conserve the 1960s,
yeah.
which would be conservative by today's standard.
Yeah.
Who's it? I think Michael Malice said that most conservatives are progressives driving the speed limit. You know, they're
Yeah.
following the rules, but we're still going to get there ultimately. That's what
Yeah.
what most of they've been the best choice out of a bad bunch, merely because they don't immediately want to destroy our country. And this is important, not just on kind of like, this isn't just like backwards politics here. This is important for every English-speaking country because like this is the homeland. But like I know Americans have a much bigger project going on, but like a lot of your culture, a lot of your political culture, a lot of your libertarian freedoms, a lot of your Christian values started with what we have over here, and we are for the past couple of years, and have certainly accelerated in the past 2 years, just been like picking away and destroying everything that we stand for in terms of our constitution, in terms of our freedoms, in terms of our law and order. Simple law and order doesn't really exist in the UK as you'd like it to anymore.
Simple law and order.
Simple law and order.
This is why it's important. This is what triggers me. And this is what gets me happy. Because my dad sent me a thing, a Twitter post of Rupert Lowes. Guys, here you go. You want to listen to a podcast? Get your facts off Twitter. Specifically unverified accounts. Those are the ones you can trust. Now I'm joking, but Rupert Lowes, he's a verified account. And I trust the guy. You're talking about law and order. Maybe I'm taking off a different thing. Is our law and our legal side of this country just seems so, and this is why you're talking about like the ethno thing. going back to-
Ethno-nationalists, yeah.
eth-
Blood and soil,
ethno-national-
ethno-nationalists.
I just want to clarify this a tiny bit, or about this a bit. Is we know someone personal, I'm not going to out them out, who literally liked an Instagram post of an English AI generated Hitler speech, and
And it was an English dub.
an English dub, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was because
So
we've
the
got-
content was 100% Hitler.
yeah, the content was 100% just Hitler's speech, just dubbed English. And the reason I bring that up in terms of like this Restore UK is we've gotten to a point where people are becoming so radicalized in England because our law and our legal seems so anti-English
Yes.
that they're looking for what would it be, an alternative that is really rooting them in England.
Yes.
And the reason I'm really excited about Restore is my wife's American. I sound American. I've spent a lot of time in America. And because the visa, the spouse visas, all this stuff, he literally in one of his posts said he's going to bring that down. Our law and order here just seems so... was this touching on a bit of what you're saying? Seems so anti-English.
Mhm.
That the reason why this is so exciting is because it seems like an actual good political party, which isn't going to be ethno-nationalist.
Yes.
But also seems to be putting, and when I say English people, I'm not saying white English people, just English people who live in England, people that have English citizenship first.
Mhm. I think, okay, so I think there's something to be said about having English politics and Welsh politics, Scottish politics, British politics rooted in some idea that most of the people here are going to be English, Welsh, Scottish, and Northern Irish, right? Because this is where they come from.
Mhm.
This is the source of English people. You
Mhm.
come over here, you will find where all the English people come from. They can't help from. I'm not really English. I'm a mongrel. I wouldn't honestly. I wouldn't even consider having much loyalty towards England or Great
I'm a
Britain.
mongrel.
The only reason we're talking about this, I think, is because we have love for the people here.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know that Restore Britain would benefit me personally as a person, but I don't generally care. I think it's what's best for the country.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think the people of the British Isles have been so uprooted. The term is deracinated. Like the whole idea that like Englishness doesn't exist. Like for a while, there's been this propaganda push that Anglo-Saxon is because it's an amalgamation of different Germanic identities. You don't exist. Like a cake doesn't exist because it's really just milk, eggs, and flour. Therefore, cakes don't exist.
That sounds.
It's so stupid, right?
That
But
sounds dumb.
it's an attempt to say that you have no rooting in this kind of Greek idea, ethnos. You have no rooting in that, and so we can just pick you up, throw you away, and just get a whole bunch of people with completely different cultural values and replace you.
Or
And-
maybe not even replace. It would just be like, because Anglo-Saxon English people were created because of so many different people coming into the country. Why is it bad if we bring a bunch of other people in? Because
Yeah.
English started with
Yeah.
so it's maybe not even necessarily being like, we're gonna throw the cake away. It's like, why
Yeah.
don't we just add even more different ingredients, because what made the cake in the first place was a bunch of
Yeah,
random
yeah,
ingredients.
sure.
Yeah.
They're coming at it from many angles.
Yeah.
And I think if it was like a very organic change, like I'm mixed race, I don't care. Like if this was an ethno-nationalist party, I would be disqualified. I would be chucked out of the country. Like it.
Yeah.
So I'm not. Nobody sane person should be pushing purely for racial purity.
Yeah.
But there needs to be some idea that this is the sort. Like I said, this is the spawn point
Mhm.
of
The spawn
British
point, yeah.
people. So you shouldn't be surprised that there are so many British people here. Like, what's wrong with you? Where else are they supposed to come from? They can't help it, right?
Mhm.
And so that kind of understanding, and given that, British people here shouldn't be ashamed that God picked a certain biological makeup to put your spirit in it, right?
Yeah.
Like racial diversity from a Christian perspective, which probably is not going to be very popular in politics at large, but the Christian perspective
Yeah.
is your ethnicity is a creative act of God. He has a palette of human diversity that he gets to paint with, and he's delightfully and fearfully and wonderfully made you, and you're like, he'll be this percentage black and this percentage white and this percentage maybe a little bit of Southeast Asian in there, and then let there be Isaac Jones, right? Like it's these things are for our racial makeup, our racial and ethnic features are things for our our spouses delight in, because of course your spouse gets to like the way you look. You're supposed to look like your parents, so it's something for your parents to delight in. But mostly it's for God to delight in how you look. You are His creation. And so us to build too much on an idea of racial, ethnic purity is just profoundly unchristian. It doesn't make any sense. We don't have ethnicized souls and spirits, right? But it also doesn't make sense to say that English people don't come from England.
Yeah.
So Restore seems to be so this is very roundabout, but I'm trying to explain my support for Restore. Restore seems to be a reactionary third way, truly conservative party that doesn't work against kingdom values, doesn't work against our establishment of the kingdom. That means they're a good option. That's a good option, honestly.
Do you reckon we could explain Restore without using the word conservative? Not because I guess I'm a bit scared that conservative is a trigger word, almost like empathy to us, you know? Maybe people that are a bit more left-leaning conservative. So Restore is
kind of
a party which is truly trying to bring English back to its fundamental belief.
I mean, it's reformist, but reform is now also a trigger word. But it is reformist.
Yeah.
There's loads of things about the UK that I don't want to conserve. I
Like
think,
abortion.
genuinely, there's a lot about the British culture and the British legal system which needs to be stripped away and put in the bin, right? And so we can go back to something more functional, something that's based more on a biblical understanding of the world. So yes, I would say it's more reformist, but reform is also for those who don't know, there's another political party that's a huge wet fart disappointment, led by a fellow called Nigel Farage, called Reform. And now between Restore, if Restore and Reform were the only two political parties, we'd be eating well, right? Like I'd be happy with that, because Reform would be left-leaning, even though everyone says they're far right, and Restore would be an actually conservative party, and I'd be like, oh, okay, this is tolerable. But instead, we have a diversity of horrible parties, and one party I would actually consider voting for, which would be Restore.
But then this is going to be the problem, going back to, is do we actually think Restore can win? Because now we've got a group of people which are so ethnically passionate, and then a bunch of communists, you know? Maybe this is too much of a broad generalization, but where we now live in a society which is just fascist and communist.
We live in a society.
Who is going to choose to vote for Restore other than biblical Christians? And the reason I say biblical Christians is because I feel like we got a lot of Christians in England, but they ain't biblical.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
that's another conversation.
That's the other work, man. That's God changing people. Look, suffice to say, this is good news. This is, as with all politics, politics is a tool.
It's a new hope.
The new hope. Blue harvest.
Yeah, new hope. We've got our Luke Skywalker.
Yes. Whereas Nigel Farage has turned out to be a phantom menace.
Yeah. Luke Skywalker.
And every other party is an attack of the clones.
Who would Nigel Farage be if he was a Star Wars character? Maul.
Yeah, he'll get chopped in half.
Because some people like him, but he's not that cool. He's not a good guy.
Yeah.
And then you have Keir Starmer.
Yes. I think Restore can win people over with law and order. Like simple things. So we've had a discussion about anarcho-tyranny. Can you remember? If you remember it, can you explain it for people?
I'm not sure if I'm necessary. When I hear narco, I just think of
Narcos. They're selling cocaine.
I think of the wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Narcos. Yeah.
Anarcho-tyranny is this unhappy marriage of anarchy and tyranny, where if you are considered a member of a minority group, you are ungovernable, and therefore we will enforce barely any law. But if you're part of a law-abiding group, my expectations for you are sky high, right? So you can't walk down the street with a fork in your gym bag or whatever because you're taking it for lunch, because that's a weapon, and therefore you'll get like £30,000 fine and put in a jail cell for 6 months. Whereas if you're a member of a protected group, you could stab someone 70 times and get 6 years, right? Anarcho-tyranny makes no sense. It seems to make no sense. Two-tier policing is kind of the British slogan about it.
Yeah.
Now, if Rupert Lowe can get in and completely reform the constabulary, policing in the UK, so that we can just have consistent application of the law in all instances, right? Then I think that would diffuse a lot of tensions. The danger has been especially with young men, we have screwed them over again and again and again in hiring and culture. We tell them the bad, sick people, all the you white males, sexist, cisgendered, disgusting, and they're online, so they're going through all these news stories of atrocities happening within the UK that aren't being remedied, right? And they're just building up in resentment. So we've done nothing, almost nothing, to appease the sense of unfairness felt by young men, and so no doubt they're going to go all the way extreme. And my fear is that it'll be too little, too late. There'll be so much spite and bitterness that these men will not be retrievable except by the Holy Spirit, of course, right? And I really don't want to get that far. Maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it takes an extreme circumstance for the power of God to be shown. And then we'll just have loads of young men repenting of fascism and then coming to the church. And you know what? Praise God for that.
Yeah.
But I hope it doesn't come to that.
And I think this is it. I was speaking to some guy called Keith Gooderham the other day. Is in order for real change to take place, we're in such a state economically, societally, whatever buzzword you want to say, that in order for us to get back on the right track, there is going to be an element where it's really bad.
Yes.
It's worse. Like, what's an illustration for this? Like, there's going to come a point where you're going to have to take away the foundation. And so there's going to come a point where you don't have a foundation while you're rebuilding the new one. And what I mean by that is there's going to come a point where I'm trying to bring up an example which isn't completely triggering.
Go for it, man. Trigger away.
Well, maybe let's talk about illegal immigration, whether you stand on that. There's going to come a point where for us to get illegal immigration under control, we're going to have to keep the spouse visas the legal way, still expensive, and also stop illegal immigration. There's going to come a point where what I'm trying to say is it's the worst of both worlds. But we have to go through that in order to fix it. And we live in a world right now where everything is so Christless. Everything is so selfish. No one wants to be selfless, and in their time and in their generation be the people to go through the hard time and the worst times in order for the next generations to reap the benefits.
Yeah. I mean, that's the civilization building attitude is I'm willing to take the hits so my children have a better future.
Yeah.
And then from around about the 1960s, I wonder what happened. The idea was I will sacrifice the future for my happiness.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we've been living. And I think the Jew has come. The bill needs to be paid now. Things are beginning to fall apart.
The Jew. I was like,
the Jew has come, and he'll come again.
Yeah. That's funny.
Praise God.
That was a good one. Talking about Jesus.
Yeah. It's just, I don't want to be doomer about it because there's Jesus and there's community. People used to fight and die for king and country because they loved their family, which meant, and they loved their communities, which meant they loved their country, and the king represented their country, so they'd be willing to go and die. Right, but the higher way is to love God, which then means you love your family, your community, those outside your community, your country, and that is just a more stable basis to run a country.
And then you put you love you at the very bottom.
At the very bottom, it needs to still be there. Look after yourself. You're made in God's image.
Doesn't mean to not love yourself.
Yes.
Or look after yourself.
Yes.
And even though I look like a burnt chicken nugget on myself.
Yeah.
Seen that?
No.
Oh gosh, bro. I quote so many things you've never seen.
No.
Anyway, it just makes me look so brain rot. I have to just put brain rot on our podcast.
Are you hopeful for this Restore stuff?
Am I hopeful for this Restore stuff? I would say if what they say they're gonna do, I'm hopeful. But that's why I think we live in a world right now, and with political parties where they say they're gonna do something and don't. Like, what was the main push for Labour? We're not gonna raise taxes.
Yeah, and raised it by 10%.
This is the problem. Okay, and in kind of closing, this is my final statement. It's bringing my buzzword. This is my main issue. This is my final point. Is people want free stuff, but that doesn't exist.
No.
Someone has to pay the price. Even the free gift of God cost someone to die on the cross. And the reason I bring this is I want less taxes. I want less this. I want free healthcare. I want free this. Who is paying for it? Where is the cost coming from? And again, to just close, I think this is why we have to live in a society, and people have to think, okay, I need to live in this society where where my taxes are really high and I don't get free dentist or I don't get free healthcare necessarily in order for in the future that to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just being the same.
Amongst
person.
other things, man. Like, yeah, we're gonna have we need to have a couple generations that take the hit. I'm willing to take the hit for my kids.
Same.
I'm not living the same quality of my life as my parents did
No.
when they were at my age. One of my parents is Thai, so that's a complicated issue. But my dad, for example, was a high flying flight engineer and stuff like that. He had a really high quality of life, and he seemed to just like kept tripping into life opportunities. And I just haven't had that, and I'm kind of okay with that. My life satisfaction is not dependent upon living in a consumerist culture and having loads of money to spend in that culture. It's simply not.
No.
But like, I do love God, which means I love law and order. I do love God, which means I want people in my community provided for. I love God. I love my family. I want what's best for my family. And like, so long as I can this is what I think about at night. Like, sometimes I'm anxious about finances or the state of the world. And I go, I just need to get my kids to the other shore. I need to get them across the river, and then their lives are their responsibility. I just need to get them there, right? And then my duty to them in that regard of raising them is done. But I can then, obviously, we still have a relationship. But that's how I know I've made it. I've done everything I can, is when I can get them across the river, right? And that's what I'm pushing for every day, right? And I think we've had multiple generations of people where the typical attitude has not been that. It has been, how do I increase my life satisfaction? And it's coming time where we're just going to have to knuckle down. I'm willing to take the hit. I understand that many of the solutions in governance are going to be unpleasant. They're not. The optics are going to be terrible when you start deporting rapists and murderers and stuff out of the UK and back to their home countries. It's going to look terrible. The news media is going to make you look like the world's worst person for sending. Let's not name a particular ethnicity, but sending whatever guy with 67 offenses. That's not a joke. I read a news story with 67 offenses was still in the UK and was let free. Right? Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. It's not going to look good. It's going to upset loads of people with sensitive sensibilities. So you go like, where's your empathy? Where's your empathy for these poor people? You're putting them on a plane, a free plane ticket, and you're flying them back to Sudan. Where's your love and your compassion? You're just sowing division in this emotional time. We're going to get a lot of that, but I'm willing to do that for the future. I'm willing to do that for my kids. And here's something else. Here's something to consider: is when England becomes a safe and pleasant place to live again, persecuted people, genuinely persecuted people across the world would love to live here. And then we can make a circumstance where people who are trying to leave Islam, people who are trying to leave communist North Korea or whatever, have a safe place to come and be productive and raise kids in the British dream, right? Where one day they can be counted amongst our citizenry. Even though ethnically they have no part of us, they can be a part of our country and of our nation, because they are in love with what we're building here. Like, if we lose the UK, a lot of these people have fewer options of where to go. Safe harbors for people who differ in thought, who have left authoritarian regimes, who want to leave Islam. Like, these people have fewer safe places to go. That's part why I want to preserve the UK.
Yeah, there you go. And you've cooked on this podcast.
Yeah.
I've facilitated it, but is what it is.
Anything you want to say to close? You can close. I'll let you close. You get the last word.
I don't know if I have the close. I think.
Okay, let me have the last word.
No, okay. No, I know what I want to say now. I was thinking about it. I think what we need is active Christian. Because that's what I was going to say before. I was thinking we just need to pray. But then I think sometimes people always take praying as a passive act of, well, I'm not going to go out there and debate. I'm not going to go out there and protest. I'm not going to go out there and vote, because I'm just going to pray and God's going to do all the work. No, I think we need active Christians who pray, have hope of heaven and of Jesus, of all of that coming, but also are active in government, are active in all this.
Policing.
People go, Isaac, but Christians shouldn't involve in politics. Well, can only atheists run the country?
Yes.
What about all of flipping civilization ever? Did you think every civilization was... Oh, no, because they're going to say yes to that. Every civilization was run badly because religious people were in it? Yes. Irritating me. That's another conversation. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's end. Active Christians, that's
actively show up, do your duty as best you can. Again, kingdom isn't resting on your shoulders. It is resting on Jesus Christ and his sacrifice. But show up and try. That's all. And if we all did that, we would bless the world. We would be salt and light.
Yep.
Show up and try. Try.
Salt and light.
Can we
there
try?
You go. You said it.
Can we
You've
try?
said it multiple times, but it just clicked into me. Christians, we need to be the salt of the world. But if salt has lost its taste,
Mm.
what good is it except to be trampled on people?
Exactly. It's supposed to make life more colorful and vibrant. That's what salt does, man. It enhances flavors. That's what we need to do.
And some people won't like you.
Yeah. Who doesn't like salt? High blood pressure people.
Maybe. What it is. All right.
Shall we end it?
Let's end it.
Real talk.
That was good.